So the recent Westcon-Comstor report, Navigating the Shift, I know there's a longer title, but I can't remember, that's apologies, but Navigating the Shift, it's basically focusing on value-added resellers, moving from, I guess, the selling hardware and software in what we might call the traditional approach, more to subscription stroke recurring revenue model. So can you just give us the sort of high-level findings of that before we drill down in a bit more detail?
Absolutely, Philip. Thanks. And it was a very interesting survey that we ran. The number of partners across the UK and New Zealand, and I guess the high levels that came out of it was that the majority of our partners are in different phases of a journey into subscription models, changing business models, and they're all at different states of capability themselves and where they need help. They're all looking at how to achieve business growth in the current climate, how they can get the right skills into their organizations to support ultimately their end customers as they're going through their transformation journey. And the customers themselves are changing, in terms of their behavior of what they're looking for and how they want to consume technologies. And so our partners, the resellers, have to adapt to that. They have to adapt to both their customers' changes, and they're adapting to changes in vendor models as well, in terms of how they take their products to market. And it's a complex environment because we're dealing with largely complex technologies that we as Westcon-Comstor take to market. And these partners have to bring all of that together ultimately into solutions that meet the end customer needs. So we're seeing a lot of them are, they're giving us great feedback and letting us know where they are in that journey at this point.
And in terms of that journey, the sort of migration process, did you get the idea that most of them, as you say, are on the way, but I don't think many have sort of completed it? Is that because of their sort of internal processes, that they're working their way through it, or is it because customers aren't demanding, or did you find it, what reasons for the fact that not everyone has made the transformation, shall we say?
I think there are probably a combination of things, and I don't think there is some specific end goal that a partner has to completely transform their business. Ultimately, what it boils down to is, where are their customers in their journey, and what do their customers actually need from technology? So the partners are shifting at different paces. Some of them may have end customers who want to have 100% of their workloads in the cloud. Others, and probably more predominantly, have a combination of workloads that may sit in hyperscalers, in the public cloud, on-prem investments that they've made. Maybe at some point they want to change some of those on-prem investments to the cloud, or in some cases they want to remain with some of those technology investments on-premise. So I don't think there is a total journey that is easily defined, and that has to be achieved by any particular date. I think it really depends on what the end customers need, what they need from technology, and how they're servicing their users, and that changes, I guess, where the partners are in that life cycle and how far along they are.
I believe that the survey highlighted one potential issue, which was, I found it slightly surprising, but you can, I'm sure, explain it, that a lot of them found managing a multi-vendor sort of services environment challenging, but clearly they are used to managing multi-vendor hardware and software solutions because that's their bread and butter. So what's the difference, if you like, between physical tin and software and suddenly services from multiple vendors? What makes that difficult?
Well, it boils down to the changing way that the end customers are consuming their technology. So they're now having to add another layer, I guess, of complexity that over and above just bringing together multiple technologies from, say, multi-vendors. They're now having to look at how the end customers actually want to consume that. So certain technologies may be an outright purchase, and there'll be an installation and maybe some ongoing maintenance, whilst there are other technologies that are being consumed as a service on a monthly basis, or sometimes even on consumption. So depending on how much they're using it. And the end customers, that is, how much they're actually using of the technology. And so the reseller community out there has to manage all of that. So not only do they have the complexity of bringing different technologies together as a solution, they're now having to manage different ways of billing that solution and ultimately meeting the end customer requirements. So I think it's, they are used to complexity, but this now adds just another layer and exponentially makes it more complex to manage.
Okay, and I believe the survey sort of highlighted that they think that distributors have, can help them manage this situation. And I'd be interested in, not just why that is, but also the benefits that they see or you think, obviously, as yourselves can bring to VARs who are making this sort of transition.
Absolutely, Philip. I think we have a vital role to play in this. It starts in the fact that we're very close with our vendors. So we understand the trajectory that they're on ultimately and where they want to take their technologies, the capabilities that they have and how they're going to take them to market. So we have an advanced view of ultimately where that's going. And it's our job to help the partners see that future shift and then, start to take the steps to be able to align with that. But I think at a more basic level, it's also just the transactional components. If you need to buy a piece of hardware, a perpetual software license, but now you need to add a subscription to it. How do we make that transaction easier to happen for the partner so that they don't have to spend much time worried about the transactional capabilities and they can focus really on what the benefits are going to be for the end customer once they've made that purchase. And through that, we have that initial transaction, but we also recognize that this is a life cycle now. So it's no longer just about an initial sale, a project's delivered and move on to the next project. Ultimately, you're trying to realize business benefit for the end customer. You have to be with them throughout the process. You have to look at making sure that they've gotten benefit out of the initial technologies that they bought. And are they actually using it? Are they adopting it? Are there things that would enhance that experience that they have, additional products or technologies that could be added to the solution? And then ultimately at the end of it there's probably a renewal process or a re-signing that needs to happen at some point in order to continue using the technology. Now, all of these activities, when you start to look at the number of technologies, the number of customers they're dealing with, adds up to a lot that they have to manage at any point in time. And as a distributor, we have insights into all of that. We've got the technologies and the data internally that help us, I guess, position to the partner at the right time what they need to know. So we call that the insights, the data insights that we're able to give to them. And that ultimately helps them focus on the right things at the right time. And I think that's where we can add a lot more value than just the ability, for them to come and procure something from us. It's about how we are helping enable their business down over a continuum and making sure that they're also seeing success and ultimately their end customers are getting the success of the purchases that they've made.
And I think to the point you've been describing there, you fairly recently launched the Partner Central program. So it would be good to understand, was that launched entirely for the reasons we've been discussing to help people with the migration, but also be good to understand obviously the various components of that program, so what it is you're actually offering to your partners along the way.
Partner Central is something we've been working on for the last 18 months, I'd say, in earnest development. We had a number of different tech tools, platforms that partners could log into and utilize for whether they wanted to do software or as a service type transactions, or they wanted to look at traditional e-commerce and purchasing normal tangible products. But these were quite disparate, different tools that they'd have to use. We felt that if we having seen where the shift was going in the markets, and the fact that all of these, the lines are blurred between the different types of technologies, we felt that partners needed one place to be able to come and transact with us. So we built Partner Central out to help the partners ultimately accelerate their transformation, bringing everything together in one place with a single sign-on and an easier to use user interface that allows them to be able to see, the stock we have on hand, allows them to manage subscriptions, see their upcoming renewals, and in a simpler way that helps them manage their business. So this has been happening in parallel. The survey that we ran, I think, reinforces what we saw coming down the line when we start to hear from partners. But we've been building this out, on top of a lot of the integrations we've done with our vendors over the last few years, really being able to transparently provide that through to the partners. So Partner Central, it helps with the ease of the transactions, but we're providing a lot more than that now as well. So we are focused around data insights and making sure that partners themselves can access the data that we've got, the data of their transactions, the data of what the technologies that they bought, that allows them to start to predict, where future opportunities are, and to be able to see when things are coming up for renewals or re-signing. And we've also brought in our learning platform so that partners have access to more rich content and technical as well as soft skills and certifications that they can do. So we see Partner Central as that. We've called it the digital gateway for our partners. It's the single place for them to come to be able to interact with us in a digital way. That doesn't mean that we are only interacting with our partners in a digital way. It's just being able to meet them where they need to be, and giving them a hybrid model where certain things they want to do is self-service, and other things they want to talk to our people about, when it comes to complex solutions and technology. So Partner Central, we've launched now in this last few weeks, although we had a pilot running for a couple of months with certain partners just to get good feedback and experience. But that's really helping us now to be able to provide the partners with a tool set and what they need to meet that transformational journey that they're on.
Okay, and if it's okay to ask, I mean, we've obviously been discussing the fact that the value-added resellers are having a sort of disruptive time, are having to migrate to a sort of new model, or at least additional model to what they've been doing traditionally. For yourselves, has it been similarly disruptive in terms of realigning the business to not just, as you say, selling so many amounts of hardware and software, but being the middle person for services, etc.? Just any insights you're able to share as to how yourselves have had to transform?
Absolutely. We've definitely been on a transformation journey. In my role around the technology side has been to focus on what I'm now calling our wave 2 of that journey. Our first wave a couple of years ago was around putting in a standard ERP system globally that allowed us to build a number of tools on top of. In the last sort of 2 to 3 years, our focus has really been around how do we automate more with our vendors? How do we get access to more of their data that will allow us to have those better insights and then share those with our partners? So we are, just as I think any company is in the world, also been on a digital transformation journey, which has changed our business model. We've seen a significant shift from in the last few years of the amount of our business that is software and recurring revenue, as opposed to just traditional one-off sales of hardware. The majority is now moving towards that recurring revenue model, and that has changed our business internally. It means we've got to have much more automation, much more ability to scale effectively to deal with a different way of transacting and different volumes that have come through. And that has an impact broadly across the business on our people, the types of technologies that we're offering to partners, new vendors that we've signed up in the last few years. Are they in line with where the world is going, and how do we continuously drive value out through the channel? So it's been an exciting couple of years, and I think this is a journey that we're still on for some time.
And is it safe to say, because I know when the whole sort of cloud and services model arrived, there was almost in certain circles a gleeful prediction that the distributor was going to vanish because you could just the VARs could deal directly with the service providers, and that was that. But it appears that's not the case. There's still a very important role for the distributor to do that aggregation and supporting the VAR in whatever model they are selling technology to the customers. Are you confident that that has been proven, and that looks like it's the future?
Very much so. I would say as a distributor, our role is even more important now. I know there's always this concern of disintermediation that can happen in a channel, and that not even for us as distributors, but even for partners. You know, why can't the end customer just purchase directly from the the developer or the manufacturer? But we have a significant role to play in the channel. One is to help partners do these transactions. There's a significant investment that goes with being able to have billing engines and manage all of this complexity. And we're providing that to our partners because we've made that investment that helps flow through the channel. And then our job is to help enable and bring together the solutions that partners need. One particular purchase is unlikely to satisfy all of their requirements. They need to look at how different technologies come together. And in terms of where we sit and the close relationships we have with our vendors, we're able to advise better what solutions are going to work, whether it's in cybersecurity or communications. As the partners are talking to their end customers, we're able to give them that guidance. And I think now that we have all of this rich data and insights that we've built and brought together, we're able to give the partners a much better view of also what their business looks like and needs to look like moving forward. And I think they rely on us quite heavily for that. So the transactional capability sure is one thing, but I think it's the things we bring around it and together that ultimately provide real value. And I think the value that we provide is needed more than ever now in a very complex technology environment.
Okay, well, I mean, it's been lovely to chat, and I appreciate your time. So, Rak, thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Okay, Philip, thank you very much for having me.